Hi, this is Mauro from Tanuki Games, and we are going to count down the top 10 underrated Nintendo 64 classics, if you want to call them classics. The Nintendo 64 is my favorite system. I'm very nostalgic of it, and thus overly defensive of it. I know a lot of games might not hold up for many people over time, and then some are still classics and have aged gracefully. But there's no denying this system was revolutionary. Mario and other franchises went from 2D to 3D smoothly thanks to it. Never had anyone ever played something like this before. My mind was blown. The jump was so great, and yet, with the Nintendo 64, 3D gaming landed on its feet, which continues to this day. I personally think that there are so many great Nintendo 64 games, but today I'm just going to focus on some of the forgotten ones. I'm only looking at games released in the US. Best Japanese only games is another list for another time. So here's my list of the most underrated games on the Nintendo 64. Number 10, Bomberman Hero. This game is easy on the mind and on the eyes. Its simplicity is part of the joy. Throw bombs and get through the level. It kind of reminds me of a Kirby game. Not challenging enough to be engrossed, but not easy enough to be boring. Just simple fun. Number 9, Gauntlet Legends. Not a deep game, but God, it is fun playing with friends. There's a good variety of characters to choose from, but that doesn't matter. What matters is chopping everything down in your way. Get your friends, a pizza, some soda, and pop this baby in. You will have fun, in a mindless way, which is good. Number 8, Rocket, Robot on Wheels. Call it a Mario 64 or Banjo-Kazooie ripoff, but this game has a surprising amount of depth. It's charming and always keeps you guessing what task you'll have to do next. Made by Sucker Punch, it makes sense that the next game this company made was Sly Cooper. Also, I love Mario 64 ripoffs, if they have good gameplay. Rocket does it right, most of the time. It's the best of the second tier collectathons. Number 7, Mischief Makers. What this game lacks in gameplay, it makes up in originality and character. Mischief Makers is actually a fun game. For some reason, it had an aura of criticism attached to it. Maybe it was the odd controls and the unintuitive button mapping, as well as the desire for something 3D instead of 2.5D at the time. But in reality, it's hard to complain too much, especially when you get to throw stuff around. The graphics are great, and it feels like an anime. Do you mind a playable yet flawed game with a ton of heart? If not, this is the one you're looking for. Shake, shake! Shake, shake! Number 6, Winback. Released in 1999, Winback is kind of the beginning of cover-based action shooters. It has smooth controls, and even a puzzle element to most stages. The levels are sort of repetitive, but hiding out and getting that perfect shot is still very rewarding, making this game surprisingly replayable. And the rolling is fun too. Number 5, Mission Impossible. In 1998, my James Bond fever was at an all-time high. I was obsessed with GoldenEye, but I felt it traded the covert Bond feel for an all-out action fest. I wasn't complaining too much though. However, Mission Impossible was mind-blowing to me. Not only do some stages require no shooting, but if you pull out your gun, you'll fail the mission. It had a third-person perspective that allowed for a cinematic experience where you had to solve puzzles with trendy gadgets or just your wits. You even get to experience some of the film's most memorable moments. Finally, it has one of the best soundtracks in gaming history, wrapping it all up in a nice package that felt like you were in a real spy movie. Number 4, Blast Corps. One of the first 64 games by the legendary Rare during its creative heyday, Blast Corps blends vehicle combat, mech action, destruction, exploration, and puzzles that make you race against the clock or just tear down everything in sight. Tight controls and the pure joy of smashing things makes the replayability extremely high. This is truly a unique experience that has no similarities to any other game out there. Number 3, The World Is Not Enough. Back to Bond. In the late 90s, I was dreaming of the ultimate 007 experience on a video game. I wanted the first-person perspective of GoldenEye, but the ability to do so much more. Then in the year 2000, my prayers were answered. Holy crap, you get to ski. You get to jump across rooftops. There's a jump button. You get to knock bad guys off ledges. You get to dodge trains, escape explosions. You get to swim. Water in video games is a personal favorite pastime for me, and I wanted to swim in GoldenEye so bad, but all I got was that puny little pool in the Egypt stage. Not anymore! Whee! Like Mission Impossible, you sometimes have to perform missions without always pulling the trigger. You are a spy, first and foremost. Also, the multiplayer is amazing. In some ways, I actually prefer it to GoldenEye. If you play the plane stage with grenade launchers, you will know what I mean. This game was an experience I will never forget. Number 2, Star Wars: Shadows of the Empire. Many people remember this game, and I guess many remember it fondly, but I think it's underrated because not many appreciate it the way they should. This was the complete Star Wars experience in one package. No Star Wars game has featured the variety that this game did. I will never forget fighting Boba Fett in a jetpack, chasing down a biker gang on Tatooine, tripping an AT-AT on the Battle of Hoth, and piloting a ship in a massive space battle. Even the Wilhelm scream is here. This was an impressive game when it was released, and I think it still is. I would really like to see a new Star Wars game take on the scope and diversity that this one did. I've never felt so immersed in the Star Wars universe before or since. Number 1, Jet Force Gemini. Another classic by Rare. Upon release, this was not initially one of my favorites. It's difficult. It has some tedious backtracking, and sometimes it can be outright frustrating. But over the years, I kept coming back to this game more and more. Jet Force Gemini is my number 1 underrated Nintendo 64 game because it still holds up so well. It should be recognized much more than it is. The gameplay is addictive and engaging. The graphics are beautiful. The soundtrack is epic. It's a very well-crafted experience by an extremely talented development team at the height of their game. This is like a film that did poor in the box office, but deserves a second chance. This is like the Blade Runner of video games. Well, I wouldn't go that far, but you know what I mean. Jet Force Gemini is an underrated and forgotten hidden gem if there ever was one. Thanks for watching, guys. Please subscribe and like the video. Also, my buddy Zach has some great game reviews on the channel, as well as our weekly chat on video games. So come hang out with us. This is Morrow with Tanuki Games, signing out.